Hey, with your evening story channel, I post new interesting stories every day. Subscribe and click the bell to not miss it. What a beauty in nature, the green foliage is mesmerizing, inviting under the shade of tall trees and dense shrubs. What grows on the side of the road? James could not resist the temptation and stopped the car. Even though the air conditioner was working in his Jeep, the sun was blazing outside. As he passed the bushes, he stopped. Everywhere you look, yellow sea of ears, among which blue eyes of cornflowers and snow-white fragile daisies. Look out cautiously, and a little more brazenly sickly poppies, breaking the bed harmony. Not bright color of this amazing sea. The man sighed a full breath and sat down in the tall grass closer to the field, looking up at the clear sky and lacy torn clouds. He loved summer very much. His youth flashed by like a gentle spring. The white braided, pre-black hair was the reminder of a hard life. He had everything now. A good, lucrative job. A chain of gas stations all over the country. He had a wife, Jenna, a spoiled-kept woman. He dusted her off. She was 8 years younger than James. At first, he said she was young, stupid. Wisdom comes with age. But after living with him for 5 years, while he worked hard to build a business, Jenna got bored. And after another 6 years, she had a lover and filed for divorce. Their daughter Molly was raised by a paid teacher. The servants cleaned the house, and Jenna lived for herself. They were not always rich, but provided her with a carefree life. James always, even at times, to his own detriment. For example, drove a company car for a very long time his own did not buy, only that the house is a full cup, and only that nothing would not need his favorite girls. And since James was a big official only after leaving his post, and was able to devote himself to the development of big business, and all his earnings were recorded on his wife, but they parted peacefully. He bought her a villa on the coast and put a large sum of money in the bank in her name. And daughter, Molly, who was 10 years old at the time, stayed to live with her father. That's what the parents decided, as and when he missed important points in parenting. But the transition age of the daughter took James by surprise. At first, there were a lot of complaints for the girl, but all her dreams and wishes rich daddy fulfilled as a good wizard. Continuing to pamper to 16 years old, she had in her own large apartment and her own car. Molly was boorish to her father and fought with him often. Within a year, she was in the system, using drugs, brazenly cheating her father to beg for money. James fought for his daughter, treated her, and drove her to rehab. He wouldn't give up, but the girl was out of control. Money corrupts. He realized that after a while. Well, 21 years old, Molly finally came into her own. Graduated college, trained as a computer designer. She is still fragile and impressionable. She was very affected by a car accident involving 2 of her friends. Under the influence of drugs, the rich girls were returning in a cool car from a nightclub. Molly was supposed to ride with them, but hesitated. Came back, forgot the leathers on the back of the chair, and those rolled away, and with the wind at high speed. Got into an accident. One of them somehow got out of it. The second, despite many expensive surgeries, remained disabled for life. Like a vegetable who spent it first in the hospital, then at home. Molly realized what such a life could lead to and kept quiet. Asked her father to pay for her rehabilitation, and came back a different person. No more alcohol, no more drugs. But as it turned out, she loved traveling with her camera. And in this fascinating occupation, she unexpectedly found herself and developed her talent and passion for artistic photography. The pictures turned out to be very beautiful. Her father even paid for and organized an exhibition. He began to be proud of his girl, not forgetting. Now to spend a little time and talk about it too. Life had settled down, and even Janice subscribed to Depot Pro to edit this document. Visit www.depot.com/pro for more information. Absence from their lives did not dampen the bright joy. Now, sitting in the grass and admiring the yellow waves of ripe ears, James finally let the tears fall. Yes, it had been a long time since a strong man had cried. On himself, more despair deep in his heart and a little gave vent to the accumulated emotions. Molly would have been happy to take pictures of the native scenery. 2 years ago, her daughter started complaining of stomach pain. They had just celebrated her next birthday. Molly turned 26 years old. She was a successful and very confident young woman, and pretty. All the money that she managed to get from the sale of her works, the girl gave to charity. She was a frequent guest in an orphanage and in the boarding school for children with special needs, communicated with the staff, and then brought all the necessary supplies of food and juices. Children or underwear and essential goods paid either Molly or her father. The girl was dating a fellow artist, and things were looking up for a wedding. But what the doctors announced after an examination in an expensive clinic turned their lives upside down, divided it into before and after. The terrible diagnosis shocked and deprived her of the power of speech. Father closed in himself and daughter. Her soul became numb with fear. She understood as an autumn leaf had met the first frost's stomach cancer. Stage 3. Of course, we operate and do everything possible, said an experienced doctor, the best specialist in the capital. The main thing is to calm the daughter. New techniques. Science doesn't stand still. If you don't want to be treated here, I'll recommend a very cool Israeli clinic. Money is no problem for you. But James couldn't shake the panicked and discouraged Molly. It's my punishment, she kept telling me. Oh, come on, honey. Come on. You've changed. You're a good person. You're sensitive and kind and talented. Okay, we're wrong. Dad, don't. I know when I can feel it. Listen, we have to go to Tel Aviv. Take the camera. The ocean city there is majestic, amazing, prim, and proper. You haven't been there yet. No, Dad, but after the operation, Molly insisted she continue her treatment at home. Papa couldn't refuse. He was filled with hope. My daughter returned in high spirits and with a feverish gleam in her eyes, looking at the pictures. Daddy, I've got a whole exhibition of pictures here. I didn't expect it to be so beautiful. I took pictures of the sunset in the evenings especially. And here's the sunrise. And here, look, a lonely palm tree, and he looked with bated breath at the amazing, fantastic angles of her photos. But the quiet paternal joy was short-lived by illness. A more aggressive form with metastases returned. Doctors were throwing up their hands, saying, "It happens." Molly lost weight beyond recognition. The skin on her face had turned yellow. She felt uncomfortable with him. No, Molly would get up and serve herself. But she hid her eyes red from tears and was ashamed of the lack of hair on her head after chemotherapy. So a month ago, James made the decision to hire a girl about the same age as her as a caregiver. Lisa was an orphan who worked at one of his many gas stations, a charming girl with dimples on her cheeks. James had offered her a job at his house down the road, explained everything to her, and told her people like Lisa knew how to be sympathetic and involved. After all, she'd been through the grief of loneliness herself. The girls hit it off. Openness, naivety. Lisa that loved to tell about her childhood gray-haired, kind grandmother, and these memories were so colorful. Lisa also knew how to describe nature. As she explained later, these memories were vivid because they were happy. Then she went to an orphanage, and no one needed her after her grandmother died. Lisa, looking at Molly's pictures, was delighted and did not hide the swell of their feelings. What a talent! You have to see so special and capture it like that. It's just an ordinary flower. What are the petals like in the sun? And the beads of dew, tenderness awakening. I'd call it that. It's a photo, look in the blob. Frozen vivid moments of night dreams. Did you see them too? Flower dreams. And the girls laughed. I see sad human dreams. Listen, Lisa, is it your job to praise me or cheer me up? Or to watch and observe and report back to your father? No, I'm just making sure you don't get lonely. While James drives to work on business. I haven't been spying on you. Hey, have you ever been to Egypt? Yeah, there's a whole folder full of pictures. Wow, what about this? That's Greece with its architecture and its evening peace. It's fucking beautiful. I've never been anywhere. I've never seen the sea in my life. I've never seen anything but a gas station and bearded truckers who like coffee. I've never been able to raise the money for a trip. I wouldn't dream of it. But I saw your work and thought I'd like to see the ocean just once. Lisa, why don't we go to Italy with you or not? Venice? Let's do it. It would make me feel so much more energized. Yeah, I feel like I'm not so sick anymore. Get your passport, come on. Tell me what you better tell me. How long is my father going away for? Like 2 weeks. I'll call him. I'll send him off. We're grown-ups. And David, he doesn't call. He doesn't come. I don't know. He's creative and cowardly. Come on. Let's go for a vacation. Indeed, one May came 2 weeks ago with flowers, and then suddenly the wedding disappeared without explanation. It's not going to happen. Bitterly thought the girl. Tried to call David herself. The subscriber was unavailable. It's not a problem. Let the girl cheer herself up. I have a father and Lisa. She's got it in for me. I didn't see anything but a gas station. She kissed her friend in a little voice. What a humorist. A blush came to Molly's cheeks. She felt energized and carefully put her camera in the suitcase with her belongings. We left in one day, and how excited was Lisa. You should have seen it. Molly smiled. We went first to Italy, then to Spain on the coast, and we decided to get there on a cruise ship. Lisa stood on the deck and almost clapped her hands. Like a little girl, she laughed to herself. Molly, who was standing next to her and had her eyes closed, enjoyed the light breeze that touched her cheeks. A white shawl was tied on her head, or was hiding the lack of hair. What a beautiful day, she thought anxiously. Listening to her sensations and the strong painkillers, she had packed an entire medicine cabinet and injections. What did Lisa know how to do in pills? But nothing had hurt for 3 days of weakness and dizziness, and had to eat only liquid food grind in the blender and follow a special diet. But it's all small things. Daddy didn't want to let go. But Daddy, we won't be gone long. There's a doctor and a nurse on board. Please, just for 2 weeks. For a short cruise, they'll cook for me in the kitchen. I made the arrangements, paid, couldn't refuse. We agreed on a return date, and there they were at sea. She enjoyed the pure happiness of Lisa's rapturous eyes, forgetting everything in the world, catching these moments. Photographing easily, I in the shower Lisa, and I'd turn around and smile, listen. These pictures are called This Is What Happiness Looks Like, showing in the camera saved snapshots. And you're beautiful. Look at my work. I took a picture of you. You're so beautiful. Your face is so pure, so spiritual. And here, look how much you look like your father. Can I give you a hug? You're such a kiss-ass. Lisa fought off Molly. Their cabin was serviced by a steward, a young guy named Charles. They'd become friends. Modest, short, thin. Brown eyes. He liked to smile and put people in a good mood. But he didn't want to take tips, as Molly didn't ask for them. He spoke to her only in English, despite Lisa's protests. It's just that I'm only in my second year, and the language is not enough. I know it well, Charles excused himself. And Molly is helping to master it and practicing with it. Do you have a lot of foreigners on board? Of course, they like to travel. In his free evening time, Charles started to spend with girls. Once he invited Molly to the Neptune bar, which was shining with bright lights on the upper deck, and they spent a wonderful evening. I can't eat or drink anything. You know what Molly said? I know. I already made a special vitamin cocktail. They'll serve it to you. Don't worry. The sympathy between them grew. He looked into her blue eyes with undisguised tenderness and warmth. There was no pity, but the girl felt with all her soul the fiery feelings that flared up from what intimacy in their touch and his embrace. And Molly lay awake nights. She thought, how did she let love into her heart? Why? She only had a year to live. But remembering his gaze, his touch of his hand, she tried not to think about the future and enjoy every minute of the time allotted to her by God. Strangely enough, in 2 weeks, she had only had an overnight injection once, and Molly had taken a pain pill once. And that was just out of habit, no more attacks. Walking ashore in sunny Spain, she immediately called her father. Everything's fine. I'm with my dad. Surprisingly, everything's fine. On the way back, full of impressions. Tanned and ruddy, Molly was chatting with a friend, sitting on the deck in a deck chair. Seeing a guy approaching, Lissa let down and with a wink, ran off to the cabin, leaving the young people alone. I'm going to miss you, Molly. I love you and I want you to be my wife. Charles, you know I'm terminally ill. Why do you need me? Molly almost cried at those words. But I want to tell you right away. It's not money I'm after, love, believe me. We'd heard rumors about your father's wealth. I want you. I really want you to be happy. I really love you. Let's put in the prenup that I renounce my wife's money. No property benefits at all. Accept it. Marry me. Love heals. I'll carry you in my arms. And he lifted her up like a piece of fluff. What more can I do to make you believe me? Lissa captured the scene of their breakup on camera and showed it to a friend in the living room with a comment. Is this what happiness looks like? No, this is more like what tenderness and love looks like. Molly's father walked in the door of their mansion at this time and was stunned on the spot, not recognizing his daughter. She was glowing with happiness. Her eyes radiated so much emotion. My daughter held Molly tightly to her heart. Oh my God, you look so beautiful. Have you changed? Daddy, I'm getting married to Charles, we know the liner. I'm happy for you, daughter. And we've taken so many beautiful pictures, said Lissa. Well done, girls. You had a good vacation. How are you feeling? He whispered to his daughter, not letting her out of his arms. Good, answered Molly. We'll live a little longer. A year passed, a happy one for everyone. For a year, Molly had almost no seizures, but she absolutely refused to be tested. Daddy, maybe I'll go to sleep one day and not wake up, but I'll sleep happy. Maybe we can still fight this fight. It's not all bad, Charles once said. You don't want to get checked out here, go to Israel. Dad put you up to it to convince me. Okay, I'll do it. I have a dream, and I have a dream to live next to you long to give love and tenderness. Doctors, comparing the scans and the results of previous examinations, were very surprised. Miracles, of course, happen, but very rarely. The disease did not progress. There was still hope, as the eyes of the patient and the girl who came with her were shining too. And the father did not hide his tears, rejoiced in her young man, picking up Molly in his arms.